Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and today I'm bringing you another NU battle that I had against someone by the name of Bad Luck Brian. Now this person challenged me on PO, so I'm assuming he might have known who I am, which is kind of cool. And this actually turned out to be a pretty good battle. I'm using my really old team because I just like it. It's kind of my favorite team that I've ever made, and so I see no point in not using it all the time. But my opponent is using some interesting things, and first of all, I know that the Dustox can pose a huge problem to my team if it gets the chance to set up, especially if it's the Dustox that I made. And also the Zweilous is also incredibly difficult to deal with because those things have hustle and outrage, and it's like the most powerful outrage in the game or something like that. So I know that's going to be a problem to deal with. So I choose to lead off with my Machoke because I feel like he'll want to stealth rock at the beginning with his Lairon, and what do you know, he does. At least I think that's what I was thinking. And so, I obviously seeing that the Lairon is out there, I'm going to take this opportunity to substitute because I know it's like a free sub because he obviously doesn't want to stay in on a Machoke. Unfortunately for me though, he switches out to Banette, and I don't have any really good way of dealing damage to Banette other than Ice Punch or Bullet Punch because my move set is limited in the fact that I can't hit Ghost for super effective damage. I probably should put Payback on this because I hardly ever see Ice Punch actually being useful for this Machoke. But we'll see in the future. Hopefully, it'll prove to be a sort of worthful move. But he goes for Cotton Guard, which is one of Banette's Dreamworld ability or Dreamworld moves, which is awesome for Banette because it doesn't have great physical defense or special defense. And then he goes for a Calm Mind. So right now, I'm like really worried because he kind of has a lot of boosts under his belt. But seeing that he's going for Calm Mind, that means he's a special attacker, and my Wormadam, fortunately for me, is a special defensive Wormadam. So I take this opportunity to switch that in. I take the Thunderbolt pretty well from Banette. I'm assuming Thunderbolt and Shadow Ball are its other moves, which you'll see in a second is its full move set. But I take this opportunity to go for Toxic to get damage on this Banette because I don't want this thing doing a heck of a lot of damage to my team because of all the boosts that it has, meaning it'll be really hard to take out and it'll be really powerful. Luckily for me, though, I can live two Thunderbolts. I think he just went for Shadow Ball there just to see how much it did, or maybe predicting a switch or something. But I just leave this Wormadam in here to die because I don't really see a point in having anything else on my team take a big hit from it. So here I try to play a little tricky. So I go out into my Masharna to bait the Shadow Ball, and so I go into my Miltank, which means that the Shadow Ball is obviously, not going to hurt it because normal types are immune to Ghost. So here he's racking up, more and more toxic damage, and now here, seeing that he'll obviously want to go for Thunderbolt, I switch out into Seismitoad. So I just basically stalled out 2 extra turns of Toxic because of the switches I made, which is really great because now at this point in the match, I can just go for, I think I go for Scald. Yeah, and I'm able to take out the Banette, which is really awesome. So what could have been a huge threat ended up not really being that big of a deal because I was able to switch around it. But here he goes out into Superior, and I obviously do not want to stay in against this thing because I'm basically dead with any grass move. So I take this opportunity, go out in my Miltank, hopefully get some toxic damage on it, and here he starts setting up again with this thing. So I'm like wondering if I'm ever going to be able to deal with this team because if everything's going to be setting up, I'm going to have a hard time taking stuff out because I'm just going to have to keep taking hits on my team, and I don't want that. But luckily for me, able to get up a Toxic as he goes for a Giga Drain. It doesn't do too much damage even after one Calm Mind, so I'm thinking this is more of like a physically defensive Superior. But seeing that he's obviously going to be going for Giga Drain, I go out into my Magmortar. Unfortunately, I do lose my balloon right here because of the Giga Drain. It's not that big of a deal, but it stinks. But obviously, he's going to want to switch out. So after seeing the team preview, I know that he'll probably want to switch out into either Emboar, or probably into Emboar to take the fire move. So I go for Focus Blast. And funnily enough, it goes into Lairon. If I hit that, that would have been amazing. It would have seemed like I was like super predicty, but obviously that wasn't what I was expecting to come in. But he just leaves it in anyway, as he takes the Focus Blast, and I guess he thinks he could take it. But even with a Violate, Magmortar is ridiculously powerful. So here, I just go for Focus Blast again. I didn't want anything else on my team to take a big hit, and I would rather switch around whatever he does than have something come in and not be able to deal with the Emboar if it was Scarfed or something. But here he goes for Flame Charge, meaning that pretty much so far everything on his team has had some type of setup move. But luckily for me, my Masharna will be able to take whatever move this Emboar goes for. And I was predicting him to go for Flare Blitz right here, so I went for Moonlight, and I do it again on the next turn. And I should have realized at this point that if he has Heat Crash, he obviously won't have Flare Blitz with Flame Charge. So that was kind of a stupid move to go for that. I should have just went for like Psychic there. But then again, as you can see, it wouldn't have mattered because he went to his Zweilous. So here I just go out into my Seismitoad because I think it'll be faster. And I go for Scald because I want to get a burn on this thing, which I apparently am faster. Look at that. And obviously, he does have the chance to miss with Hustle. So what I kind of want to do is get him to Outrage because I don't want to. I want to get the Confusion possibility on Zweilous. So Confusion with a 50% chance to, or sorry, 80% chance to miss all of your moves is really good for me to hopefully predict around. So. I just go for Milk Drink right there. He goes for Outrage, gets a crit, which sucks because it takes me down to 3%, and then he's just going to continue to Outrage. The Rocky Helmet on this Miltank is helping out a lot right now, but unfortunately, this next Outrage is going to take me out. And even though, it was only doing like 50% before, I guess he wasn't getting max damage, but see, as you can see there with 54%, I do lose out in this exchange, so I, die. But here, I'm actually going to play on the Confusion / chance of Hustle missing, and rather going for Bullet Punch, I'm actually going to make a really ballsy play and go for Substitute, which ends up working out really well in my favor. And I'm able to just go for Bullet Punch in this turn, so I basically have a free sub, and whatever he brings in is going to have to deal with the fact that I'm going to go for Dynamic Punch and be confused, except for the fact that he brings in a Dustox, which sucks because of Dustox's ability Shield Dust, Dynamic Punch won't actually confuse. So here I go into my Masharna. I know it's weak to Dustox's Bug Buzz, but it still has the best special defense of anything on my team right now, and I know I can take one. Plus, I can obviously threaten it out with Psychic. So I figured it was a better trade-off in my favor that way. But here I go for Psychic. It does, 54%. So it's doing more than it'll be able to roost off, which is nice. And here I was just expecting him to go for Bug Buzz again, but he actually switches out, and this kind of turns out to be the key play in the match, because if he went for Bug Buzz again, he probably could have won this. Fortunately for me, though, he doesn't, so now he doesn't have that boost anymore, and I'm free to just leave my Masharna in here without any reason to switch out. So here he goes into Superior, and seeing that it's Toxic, and it was a special attacker before, it went for Calm Mind. I just go for Calm Minds of my own. And this is just going to end up being some giant Calm Mind war. He goes for Mirror Coat, which I wasn't even aware Superior could learn. So that's a very interesting set. So Calm Mind, Mirror... Why would you put Calm Mind and Mirror Coat on the same move set? That kind of seems counterproductive, because they won't be doing a lot of special damage. Anyway, but I'm just going to keep Calm Minding, and no matter what he does, I'm going to win out, because it has the toxic damage, and I don't. So the next just series of events is me constantly Calm Minding while he slowly gets whittled down with poison damage. And with that, I'm basically going to take the match, because unless he gets a crit, which it doesn't, spoiler alert, I basically won, because I'm going to get to +6 with my Masharna, and his Dustox obviously will not be able to take a +6 Psychic, and it won't be able to take me out when my special defense is +6 either, unless that gets a crit too. But that's pretty much the match. I know I said that a while back that the last video with this team was, I don't even know, was it like February or something? But either way, this Masharna, is doing work, and I love this team, even though I've shown it to you a million times. It's just my favorite team so far. But you'll see in the next video which I upload, which will be a UU match, a little bit of a different thing. I actually have a awesome UU team that I really, really like. So that'll be something I'll be doing more videos of in the future, so as I delve into the UU tier. But, this match is just going to keep going on, I guess. Not much to say at this point, because his Superior is going to die on the next turn. I think I just go for Moonlight as kind of like a nail in the coffin, as in you're not going to kill me, because I just recovered all my HP, so I'm at 100% with this Superior. being dead. And obviously, you'll see in the next turn, he'll bring in the Dustox, and I will be able to Psychic it. He goes for Roost to try to live it, but that's not going to happen. And that's pretty much the match. So, as always, take care, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good rest of your day. Good night, goodbye, whenever you're watching this. Hope it's, very pleasant and all. So, take care, everyone, and goodbye.